Centering pass all the way back out to Yoder, wide open. He shoots and scores! Tipped in front, Atlanta's on the board. Is that Zach Yoder's goal? If it is, it's his first pro goal, and it is!
Hello all, and welcome back to the Atlanta Gladiators podcast. My name is Liam Gotimer. I'm the Director of Broadcasting and Communications for the club, as well as your host. Today, I'm pleased to be joined by fourth-year Gladiator, Zach Yoder. Zach, how you doing, man? That goal bring back some memories or what?
Yeah, I did. And watching it, I was watching myself turn back to Oliver because in the huddle, Oliver was like, "Hey, I tipped that." I'm like, "Well, then it's not my goal. Like, I'm trying to celebrate my first goal here." And he's like, "I'm just messing with you." I'm like, dude, like, it's like not even a funny joke. What?
What a time to mess with you if you're Kate.
I know. Like, it wasn't even funny. I'm like, man, like, let me just celebrate this for a minute.
I love it. Zach, how you doing today? And thanks for joining me on today's episode of the Atlanta Gladiators.
Yeah, I'm good. Everything's going good over here. I appreciate you having me on.
Awesome. How are you enjoying the off season so far? How's it been going?
It's been good. Really productive as far as training, and been able to get a few vacations in to kind of settle the mind and, escape hockey for a little bit. But, we're ramping back up training and on and off ice. So it's been good.
I know you went over to Australia. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But what were the other couple of vacations that you went on separately from that?
We went to Italy earlier in the summer. We ended up finding super cheap flights. So we just said, let's do it. So me and the wife went to Italy and then came home, just did some stuff around here. And then we went to Australia in July and with Caribbean, and that was a blast. So Now we're buckling down and getting ready for the season.
Absolutely. So let's talk about your time in Australia. You performed alongside Dylan Carabia, as you mentioned, in the Australian International Ice Hockey Cup. What made you initially want to take part in that this summer?
It was in the room. Like, it was an email they had sent coach, and coach just posted it for guys to, look at. And I was just like, well, this would be interesting. Like, I've always wanted to go to Australia. I don't know if I'm going to be able to this summer. And so I just signed up, and I didn't even know Crab signed up until later on. So I just signed up, and they messaged me like, "Hey, we'd love to have you." And I was like, I don't know if we can make this happen. And so I talked to my wife, and she was like, "Yeah, when else are we gonna get to go to Australia? Might as well do it." And so we were all in. And then Carabia texted me and was like, "Hey man, are you going?" And I was like, "Dude, you're thinking about going?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, well, then let's both go." So we just both decided to do it, and it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, it sounds like an amazing experience for sure. Can you elaborate just a little bit more of what that was like, not only to go through an experience such as that, but to do that with one of your teammates?
Yeah, it was kind of wild. So, I mean, obviously the flight, so we flew from Atlanta to LA and then LA over. The flight from LA to Australia was 14 and a half hours. It just so happened me and Carbs were on the same flight. So that was nice going over there. We all got our own rows. So we were able to sleep on the way over there and didn't have a whole lot of jet lag once we got there. And then they had it super well organized. They picked us up from the airport. They had, it was two teams, America and Canada. And they had all the players in this hotel, I guess, on the beach. It was half a mile from the beach. Kind of more in the Central Coast, so north of Sydney, maybe an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. And so we stayed there. They put us up, and they just had a bunch of excursions for us to do. And we played 5 games that were pretty laid back. The Australian people love sports apparently, so they just loved the hockey. They just thought it was awesome. Mm-hmm. So we had a sellout crowd for each game. And we went to the beach every day, attempted to try to learn how to surf. That didn't go well. And then, just saw some kangaroos and just did the touristy Australian things.
Sounds like an amazing experience for sure. You mentioned that you guys played in 5 games up against Canada. You won all 5. You went undefeated. You guys just got along right away and just went straight after it, or what? How did that go?
Yeah, we just had a pretty solid team. A bunch of good guys led by Kevin Miller, who actually played 600 and some odd games in the NHL. So he was buzzing around out there, having a good time. And we meshed good, and me and Krabs had a good connection out there. So it was, I don't know, we Canada didn't stand a chance, and they kept bringing in all these Australian guys to try to help Canada, and they still didn't really help.
Got all that help and still didn't turn into anything, huh?
Yeah, exactly. We weren't even worried. Like, we were in the locker room just like, you guys can keep bringing them in, but we're going to keep winning.
I was keeping an eye on the stats, Zach, and I saw that your name and Dylan's name were right at the top of the list all the way from the start of the tournament to the end. What was working well for you out there?
I don't know. I'm probably just playing the last 2 years together, and we only had 4D, so me and Carbs were out there a lot.
Okay.
And I don't know. We just were able to find each other in backdoor and breakouts, and yeah, it was nice. I will say, I think me and Carbs really grew our relationship over there. So we got pretty close while we were there. So that might have helped too, and hopefully that helps and transfers into the season.
Speaking of undefeated streaks, Zach, this past season for the Gladiators, Atlanta goes 8-0-0, the most consecutive victories to begin a season without a loss in franchise history. Talk to me about that, because, of course, you being the longest tenured Gladiator up to this point, have you ever been a part of a run quite like that, especially to start a season?
No, it was the first time I was ever part of a run like that, and I mean, especially to start the season. I mean, everyone's feeling good. I mean, it was a blast, right? I mean, you can't lose. I think we went to Allen, and I don't know if that was like 7-8 or if that was 6-7, but it was like towards the end of that streak, and we won those games, and the team was vibing, the team was meshing, and yeah, it was it was a lot of fun when we were doing that, and wish we could have done more of that, obviously, but yeah, that was pretty cool, and I hope that's something we can run back again this year.
That's what this season's for.
Yeah, exactly.
Last season, Zach, you played under first-year head coach and a teammate of yours during your first season as a Gladiator, Derek Nesbitt. What was it like playing under Nezzy, of course, the first-year head coach? Then you had Niels as well, who had just previously retired. Then he joined the coaching staff as well. Just what kind of environment did that create specifically, for you being one of the leaders and the veterans of the group?
It was good. Nezzy's so knowledgeable about the game. So like just like learning like little things from him was just so valuable, especially for some of the young guys that were coming in. You'd see him working with some of the wingers after the practice and stuff on like just wall stuff and just little things, and it was like super eye opening. Like, wow, like that's stuff that really doesn't get taught because not a lot of people know it, right? And so having someone with that much experience and that much knowledge be able to not only teach me, but teach some of the younger guys on our team. I think it helped a ton. And it was his first year. Like it was a learning curve for everyone. But as far as, I think he kind of found his groove, and I'm looking forward to what we can do as a team this year. And then
Definitely.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Definitely a weird way to start your coaching career, huh? If you're Derek Nesbitt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Start super hot. And so it's like, you don't want to change anything because you're just,
Right.
it's working. And then, we go through those road bumps, and it's your first time navigating something like that. So, yeah.
You were outspoken in our press release announcing your recent signing that you're really excited to have Eric Neely coming back specifically into the locker room. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on his impact and what he's going to bring now being back on the ice with you guys?
Yeah, definitely. I think he's definitely a leader. He brings a lot to the team. We definitely missed him last year. He was valuable on the bench, especially on the back end, helping us out in the D's with the D. But having him back in the locker room, I think, is going to be super advantageous. Obviously, he's a hell of a hockey player. He plays the right way. He plays hard, goes to the gritty areas. He's going to win the puck battles in the corner. He's going to get to the front of the net, and he's going to bang pucks in. He's not the most vocal guy in the room or on the ice or whatever, but like he leads by example. He always does the right thing, and he plays the right way. And so I think guys are gonna see the way he plays and want to mimic that. And I think it's really gonna help us. And then in the locker room, like when things aren't going our way, he'll be able to smooth everything out and calm us down and get us back on track. So that'll definitely help us this year.
From the assistant coach last year to the new Gladiators assistant coach. Let's talk about Matt Ginn for a little bit. Of course, he wins EIHL Coach of the Year honors with the Manchester Storm last season, coming over from the UK. What have your conversations with him been like this offseason, especially since it seems like he'll be taking a closer eye on the defense and goaltending side of things?
Yeah, no, he's reached out, and then I met him like a week ago. I went in and talked to him, and yeah, he seems great. I mean, obviously, like winning Coach of the Year is no slough or anything, so that's huge. So he was able to do that, and I think he'll be able to add a ton to us, like especially being a goalie, and so he knows the defensive zone pretty well, and being a defenseman, I'm looking forward to working with him, and pick his brain a little bit on some little things, and yeah, I think it just adds to our to Nezzy and to our team to help us have a guy like that on the bench.
And just in terms of the defense as a whole, in what areas do you think the entire group needs to grow, needs to work on, from where they were last year coming into this season?
Like as a team, or as like
Just as a defensive core, I'd say.
Just as a decor, so like the sixth
Yeah.
defenseman.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I would say like it's just little things like we breaking the puck out smoother, getting on the forward's tape, so like not rimming it as much. I mean, that's obviously harder as a forward to pick that up and make a play with it. And then I would say moving it quicker. So like as soon as the D-men get it, if we can get it into the forward's hands quicker, then the better off we'll be. So if we could focus on that, just essentially getting it out of our zone quicker and on tape, then it would allow us to create more offense and play in the zone a little bit more. So
right on. Now, as a team, what do you guys think you need to do better as a whole? I'll do
yeah, it's the little things like we need, like, and I think we kind of did towards the very, very tail end of the season, is like we finally as a team were playing defense as a team, like kind of in the middle, like kind of got a little individualistic, like chasing guys around, running out of position, stuff like that. But I think we just need to play. We all need to be on the same page, forwards and D, and we need to play as a unit, and play team defense and play hard-nosed team defense. And I think that's what we'll do this year, and hopefully have better results.
Right on. That last road trip, those 2 games against Jacksonville, I definitely could see a lot of what you're talking about.
Exactly, yeah.
Come to fruition. Now, on that note, Zach, let's transition real quick over to Thrashers Night. And of course, last year, the Gladiators with their first ever sellout, close to 10,000 fans for the night where the Gladiators celebrate hockey in Atlanta. Of course, being from Woodstock, what sense of pride do you have playing in those games and, being a part of, the love and the passion that this city and this state has, for hockey?
It's super cool. Like, I mean, obviously growing up and being a Thrashers fan, and then being able to, throw on that jersey, like walking in the locker room and seeing those jerseys hanging, it's a super cool feeling. And then, when we have 10,000 fans in the stands, it's like it's when you're standing out there for the national anthem, it's really cool. A lot of pride, and definitely games you want to win, obviously, with everyone in the building and then wearing those jerseys. That's probably my favorite night the last 2 years were the Thrashers nights, and I'm glad we were able to do it, and I hope we're able to do this again this year, because I know the fans love it too.
Fans definitely do love it. They came out in droves to support you guys, not only this year, the year before as well. And now just more of a general question on that topic, Zach. What does hockey and the growth of hockey in Atlanta just mean to you personally? Just growing up, being a Thrashers fan, playing youth hockey here, continuing your professional career with the Gladiators throughout the majority of it.
It means a lot. Like, obviously, my heart is like here, and I want to see the growth of hockey continue. We had a lot of good kids come through Atlanta. Probably my year from like 94s to 97s, we had some really high-end talent come out of Atlanta, and I'd love to see that continue. I think with the Thrashers leaving, that probably hurt us a little bit, because kids don't see hockey as much. But it definitely means a lot to see the youth grow a little bit. And when I'm done playing hockey, I'd love to be a part of helping, the next generation of hockey players here in Atlanta.
Let's talk about a fellow Georgian and a former teammate of yours last season, Mitch Fossier. Can you just talk about the friendship that you guys were able to create? It seems like you guys were two peas in a pod last year. So
Yeah. So he's 2 years younger than me, and growing up, we played for the same organization, but we never played on the same team. And then we just so happened to play on the same team in Janesville, Wisconsin, in juniors. It was my second year, and the coach was like, "Hey, like, what do you know about Fossier? Like, we're thinking about picking him up." And I was like, "I just know he's good. I've never played with him. I've never seen him skate. I just know he's good." And it's crazy. We lived 15 minutes away from each other in Atlanta, and we had to go all the way up to Wisconsin to play together.
Yeah.
But he got there, and we hit it off, and just became good friends there. And then we started skating with each other in the summers. So I've skated with him since probably 2013 in the summers. And we just, I don't know, he's one of my boys. Like, we just got super close over the years. And I'd say we're pretty different personalities. He's super musically talented. I'm just very much not. And so I don't know. We just have a good time when we're always together. And it was a lot of fun getting to play with him. And I was in his ear all last summer. I'm like, "Hey, man, like, come to the Glads. Like, we'd love to have you down here." Right. And then obviously he's he's a special talent. So having him on the team was big time. Obviously, when he got hurt, that's no good for anyone. The head's a real issue that no one wants to deal with. But yeah, he was definitely a big part of the team last year.
For sure. And of course, that camaraderie that you guys had wasn't just off of the ice, but on the ice too. In the moments and the shifts that you guys were able to play together, you could just see from my perspective in the broadcast booth that you guys just had that chemistry with one another. So.
Yeah, definitely two different types of players. So I don't know if he was always excited to play with me when we were on a line together, but
it worked though. It worked.
Yeah. There were games where I'd look at him and be like, "Boss, like, we're on a line together," and he'd be like, "Oh boy." And then and throughout the game, we'd end up playing pretty well. So
yeah, exactly.
But yeah.
Well, we'll see what the future holds for Mitch. Of course, wishing him all the best.
Yeah, definitely.
From one teammate last year to another, Alex Whalen on Instagram, when we announced your signing, he called you, and I quote, "the best Swiss Army knife in the entire league." What's your thoughts on that compliment, and kind of how do you see yourself develop as a player from your first year coming into year 4?
Thanks, Wales. That means a lot coming from such a grizzled veteran like him. He's also a special talent. He helped us out tremendously, and then went and had a great season up in the A. So coming from a guy like that, it means a lot. He did text me after he sent that in the group. So
I got a chuckle out of it.
Yeah. So I appreciate that out of Wales. But
yeah.
I think from my first year to this year, like, there's definitely been growth. I didn't play any forward the first year, and then, well, maybe I did. It was that first year that Pyle was walking on the bus, and Pyle's like, "Hey, yo, do you want to play forward tonight?" And I was like, "Whatever you need, coach. Like, just whatever you want me to do." And he's like, "All right, we play forward." So I think I've improved in both areas. Forward, obviously, like, playing it more last season. Definitely, I was able to learn more, especially like I said with Nezzy. And then kind of obviously knowing my role and how to play, learning that. And then I think I've improved on defense as well. So I'm hoping that, I'm willing to play whatever position Nezzy and Ginner want me to play this year. I just, at the end of the day, I just want to help the team and get some wins in the win column. So, but yeah.
Right on. And on the note of Alex Whalen, real quick, just want to wish him all the best in his retirement, which he announced earlier this week. So
yeah, best of luck, Wales.
Absolutely. All right. So moving on, in what areas do you think you specifically need to improve upon this season? Where are you looking to grow specifically this season, whether that's on the back end or up front?
That's a good question.
I'm hitting you with the hard ones.
Yeah. As far as the back end goes, I would say Probably my gaps, having a little better gaps coming into the zone. So you don't really give guys time to make plays as they enter. My gaps, and then, like I said earlier, like breaking the puck out. So if I can work on getting the puck in the forwards' tape quicker, then obviously that helps the whole team. So I would say that gaps and puck retrievals pretty much. And then for forward, yeah, I mean, my forward game is pretty simple. So I don't really, I guess make a little more plays because again, I play a simple game up there, but be a little more patient with the puck and make some more plays in the O zone. And then, yeah, I'd say those are the two like little things that I'd like to work on this year.
Sometimes simple is best. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly.
Zach, are you more comfortable as a forward or a defenseman? I know you said that you'd be willing to play anywhere, but if you had your preference, where's that lie?
I'm more comfortable playing D. Obviously, I've played my whole life in defense.
Sure.
But I do enjoy playing forward. It's a lot less thinking, like as D, you're processing everything that's in front of you. As forward, you're just chasing the puck with your, like a chicken with his head's cut off. So it's like a lot more simpler, and there's less thinking. So like it's not, I don't know, I enjoy both. And I really enjoy forechecking as a forward because my whole life I've gotten forechecked as a defenseman, and it's no fun. Any defenseman will say getting forechecked is no fun. So finally getting to be on the other side of that and forechecking guys, and I think playing D kind of helps read what a defenseman's going to do when I am forechecking them. Like if I see a D stacking behind his D, like I'm going to try to take away the reverse because there's a good chance that they do reverse. I mean, it's not always going to work, but just like little things like that. So I don't know. I don't really have like a preference. Like maybe D, if Nezzy came to me and said like, what do you want to play? I'd probably say D, but if he comes and says, hey, you're playing forward, I'd be like, all right, sweet, let's go.
Well, it's good to know that there's advantages to both.
Yeah, definitely.
In your eyes. Zach, the South Division is widely known as one of the best in the entire ECHL. I'm sure you saw it. The Florida Everblades win their third of back-to-back Kelly Cup championships. Talk to me not only about the Everblades, but the other teams in the division, like the Orlando Solar Bears, like the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, and just what makes it so difficult to play against teams like that. And again, what team adjustments, maybe not specifics, but what overall team adjustments you need to make to just have a better go of it against those teams this year?
I mean, yeah, obviously all those teams are, literally every team in our league in our division is top end. Yeah, like Florida's, you look at Florida's roster again this year, Florida's stacked again. So South Carolina's stacked again.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's always got a good team, and they're signing good guys. Orlando, Greenville was awesome last year. It's just, as a hockey player, you don't get a lot of play a lot of hockey in good weather. So obviously, I think the South, draws a lot of good players because it's like, hey, I can play in this really good league, but I can have sun 8 months out of the year or whatever. Yeah. So I think that helps. And then with the teams being good, that guys want to play for good teams, right? So it's both of those factor into it. And obviously Florida's been a wagon ever since I've been in the league. But they get older guys that, towards the end of the career that they just want to enjoy the sun and, play hockey. So they get guys like that, and they've been successful with it. But I think the South as a whole is super competitive, obviously. And we, to answer your question, as far as like how do we compete this year and a little better than we did last year, is just play more of our game, like I was saying, and then picking up key pieces like Niels and we've got all of these young guys we had last year on their second year, like Pierce, Cranny, Marshy. Like those are big time, additions that we had last year that they were on their first year, and now this year being their second year, like probably play with a little more confidence. And they're going to be key pieces of the team this year. And yeah, definitely. We're going to be very competitive with all those high end teams, and I'm not worried about it at all.
I love it. Zach, going off the ice real quick, and then we'll get to some fan questions, and then we'll finish up on this episode of the Atlanta Gladiators podcast. You recently embarked on a new venture into real estate. Tell myself and the fans a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I got into real estate like probably in 2020. I flipped a house with a buddy,
Nice.
and then we ended up getting into some like multifamily, like quadplexes and duplexes. And then the Players Association helps players get ready for careers like after hockey. So they'll like, they'll help you become a fireman or, whatever. And so one of the programs is they'll help you get your real estate license. So last year during the season, I did the whole course to be a realtor or whatever. And I was really just doing it more for myself. So when I like do find properties like duplexes or whatever, like it kind of helps me out.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got my license in March, and a couple people reached out and were like, "Hey, like we'd love for you to help me." And so I've been doing that this summer, and it's been a blast. Like I thoroughly enjoy helping people buy houses or sell houses, and it's something that I can do, during the season. It's something I can do during the off season. So it's been a lot of fun. Yeah, and so I'm really looking forward to growing that and continuing to play. So I'm pretty excited.
That's awesome how the league steps in there and really sets up players for success after they
Yeah,
come.
definitely. Because there's a lot of guys, especially the Canadians that don't end up going to school or they play major juniors or whatever. They like when they're done with hockey, they don't know what like what's next kind of thing, you know? So yeah, when they step in and like they offer like you can get courses, like college courses, there's just all different kinds of things that they'll help you to set you up for when you're done with your career. So it's definitely something that is super nice for them to do.
Did you have any thought in your mind before 2020 that real estate would be something that you might have wanted to get into after your career? Or
Kind of because I started listening to some real estate podcasts and I was like, oh, like this could be, something that I could build while I'm playing and then kind of like just transfer into once I'm done. And then in 2020, when we had that house that we flipped ourselves, um, it was like, okay, yeah, like this is definitely something that I'd like to grow and to get rolling to where, try to do while I play. And if I can't, then just have it ready for when I'm done playing.
where can fans or anybody interested in possibly getting involved with your real estate side venture, where can they reach you?
At Zach Yoder at onelookhomes.com is my email. And just email me if you have any questions or whatever. And then I'll respond and we can go from there. But
Cool.
that's probably the main place to reach me. And yeah, I appreciate you asking about that, Liam.
Yeah, no problem, man. We'll get that up on the screen so everybody can remember that email and where to contact you. But there you have it. If you want to buy a house, you want to sell a house, reach out to fourth year Gladiator Zach Yoder. He'll be really happy to help you out. So,
Awesome.
Zach, on to some fan questions. And I know we just stopped talking about Wales, but we'll bring Wales back into the conversation real quick because, he's been active in that Instagram comment section. And he says, if you could have dinner with three people from any point in history, who would they be and why? Is one Alex Whalen? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
that.
Well, Wales is now that he's retired, he's just sitting on Instagram firing off messages. Um, yeah, I thought about that. I was, had some time to chew on that one. I'd probably go with Alex Whalen, Tyler Harmon, and Shane Gillis.
Wow.
They're just all legends in their own respect. And a guy asking a question like that, like Wales, like I got to include him in the dinner that I'm having with some with
Yeah.
Shane Gillis and Harms.
Shane Gillis is absolutely hilarious. Are you going to his show, Gas South, coming up here soon? He's
When
coming.
is it?
I believe it's the first or second week of September.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. That's
I'm a
for
big
sure.
fan, so
Yeah, he is hilarious. So, and I love laughing. So, if I could
yeah.
have dinner and just laugh the whole time, I'd really enjoy that.
Well,
And
we'll reach out.
Harms and Wales are in there too. I mean, they can get you rolling too. So
100%. Well, and we had Harms and Wells on the podcast earlier this season. I definitely know where you're coming from, but
yeah,
we'll reach out to our friends over at Gas South, see if we can get you there.
that'd be amazing. Yeah.
over to the Shane Gillis performance, because of course everybody should experience that once live in their life. He is fantastic. Let's shift over from Instagram to Facebook. Janine, she asks, what was the most fun thing you experienced while you were in Australia this past summer? Now you're talking about the kangaroos and some of the experiences you were doing. What stands out the most?
That's a good question. The most fun thing that we did. I'm trying to think of like the main stuff that we did. What was probably just the whole experience. Like it was really cool just waking up. I mean, obviously with the time change, like we were waking up really early. So me, Carbs, we had like a little crew. It was like me, Carbs, my wife, and then 2 Germans actually. We had a German on our USA team, so it was a little, but a German and his girlfriend were there, and so we would just wake up and we'd walk to the beach, watch the sunset or sunrise, and just eat breakfast there and hang out and go in the water, and it's just, I don't know, like that whole experience. I mean, it's a super laid back environment. Like everyone's in the water at 6:30 in the morning watching the sunrise. So I'd say that was like just like the whole vibe of Australia, and the like laid backness was just like so relaxing, and it was just super nice.
I bet much needed after a 72 game grueling season.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a long season.
Yeah. Must feel pretty good to go over to Australia, unwind, and still get to enjoy some hockey at the same time.
Definitely.
Connor on Instagram, he asks, how confident are you in this team's ability to win more games this upcoming season and possibly make the playoffs?
Very confident. It's not a doubt in my mind that we'll make playoffs this year. Like I said, we've added some key pieces, and I think Nezzy's on his second year. A lot of second year guys, and Niels and adding Ginner, like we're only going to fortify our team and make our team better. And we learned a lot towards the end of the year last year. So I mean, I'm very confident that we'll far exceed the amount of wins we had last year and make playoffs for sure.
Chris on Facebook asks, how do you feel about the direction of this team this season with new leadership and teammates? It's a little bit of a long one, kind of a 3-parter. Okay. How solid are we as a defense this offseason coming into opening night, which I know you touched on a little bit? Building new lines with new guys obviously takes time, but as a senior guy on the squad, how has your position influenced the direction of a strong blue line this season?
Okay. Let's start with the first part. Can you say that first part again?
Yeah, of course. How do you feel about the direction of the team this season with new leadership and teammates? And I know you've touched on that, but
and then I completely blanked on this, but we also got Topes coming back. Like
Topes is huge.
Part of the question was about the decor, I think, right?
Yep. Last part.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously he was a huge component of our decor. I mean, he was playing 30 minutes a night when he was here. So having a guy like that back is just, that's a huge asset. And he's a leader in it as himself. So like, that's again, a huge component that will greatly help us. I think our decor has only gotten stronger, and then whatever guys we get down from the A, like those guys will help. But I mean, as a whole, like we've got Carbs, he's as solid as they come.
Yep.
Datama showed that he's very solid in the few games that he played with us. We got Topes back. I think our decor is gonna be very solid. It's more team defense that we need to focus on this year.
Right on. Well, that does it for the fan questions. One last question from me, Zach, and then we'll let you go on episode 58 of the Atlanta Gladiators podcast. What's one thing that fans wouldn't know about you by watching the Atlanta Gladiators podcast? Any fun facts, hobbies, something way out of the woodwork that describes Zach Yoder?
Wow.
I can give you an example. Tyler Harmon and Alex Whalen, when they were interviewed, said that they love to do puzzles.
They're puzzlers.
Something like that.
Yeah, they're weirdos. I mean, good guys, but just
not me.
Just strange. Yeah. No, I've got a weird thing where like I find interest in a lot of things. So like as far as hobbies go, I've got a ton of different like hobbies. Like, so like I enjoy fishing, I enjoy hiking, I enjoy traveling. I mean, I guess one weird thing is that like I've got like Amish heritage.
Oh, nice.
My grandpa was raised Amish.
Hmm.
I mean, he came over to English and was, at the age of like 16, he was English from there on out. But so some of my great aunts and uncles are still Amish. So if we go up to Indiana every now and then, I'll get to see some Amish family, which is pretty neat. But that's probably the most unique thing.
You said Indiana?
Yeah, that's where my family's from.
So no, when we went over to Indianapolis to pay the fuel?
Yeah, I had some family come down, but they were still like 3 hours north of that.
Okay, still a little bit
So,
far.
yeah, they're like right on the Michigan border. Kalamazoo will probably be this year will be more than Indianapolis was.
Yeah, Glad's going to Kalamazoo and then Toledo right after that. Well, Zach,
Exactly.
thank you so much for joining me on episode 58 of the Atlanta Gladiators podcast. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Liam. I really appreciate it.